5 years ago, I travelled on the Bittern Line for the first time. This runs out of Norwich to North Norfolk to places like Cromer and Sheringham, and I used the 4 most northern stations on the line by taking a coast walk between Sheringham and West Runton, visiting the beach again at Cromer, and trains take such a significant curve into Cromer to then reverse back out that there's a station not too far of a walk away at Roughton Road. Now, this was a few years before I had the aim to visit every station in the country, but I already knew that I would one day want to return to this line to visit the other 5 stations, as they seem to be quite interesting. I'm not starting with them though, I'm instead on the main line, the penultimate stop to Norwich, at this station. What station? This. Isn't this the part of the video where you put up an image of the station sign so people know what one you're talking about? Okay, first of all, I'm the editor, so I can decide what goes in the video, and second of all, I don't need to show an image because I've already told you the name of the station. Can you just... Alright, fine. Here. Happy now? Where are you going? Alright, bye. Happy travels. Weirdo. I would have liked to have headed into the town, but I caught a slightly later train because it was a cheaper advance single. This station opened in 1849 and is one of a rare few in the country where it's only served by intercity trains, none of your regional suburban ones. What other stations are like that? Berwick-upon-Tweed? Pewsey, I think? Tiverton Parkway, maybe? So I'm changing at Norwich Station. Prior to 2020, I've never used this one before, but I used it 4 times in that year to ride all of Greater Anglia's little branch lines, Ely to Norwich, Sheringham and Cromer, and Great Yarmouth and Lowestoft. I've always quite liked the station building. So I start my journey on the Bittern Line today at its least used one, and probably the least interesting as well. So I do have to cross the tracks if I want to access the other platform. This opened in 1874, and because it's a little bit of an awkward timetable because the line is just too long to have a steady hourly service with 2 trains operating it, some trains skip some of the intermediate stations, so some of them have a service every 2 hours. And because I want to take my time exploring around the stations today, I do have 2 hours, but luckily there is something I want to go and have a look at, and it is a bit of a walk away from here. So close to Salhouse station is the site of the former RAF Rackheath. It opened in World War II, it closed almost immediately after the war ended, and that line of trees up there is the site of one of the old runways. It's been reclaimed by nature, and I get to walk across the grounds towards it. Aha! This is definitely part of the old runway, isn't it? I've still got another field to cross there, over to an industrial estate. I'm sure some of the buildings over there are original. Actually, that does look like a little watchtower on the left, doesn't it? So across the industrial estate and down the road, you come across more parts of the former airbase, which has been quite nicely preserved. Seems to be loads of little tidbits in here. This is an interesting little discovery. It's quite cool getting to walk around here in this woodland. The arrival of the United States of America Air Force 467th Bomb Group. There was a memorial to them back in the industrial estate. Oh, I love this. A short guide to Great Britain, a leaflet produced by the US War Ministry, included advice on behaviour in pubs, driving on the left side of the road, and acclimatising to the British weather. I love that. Oh, witchcraft. Oh, There was a Witchcraft Road back in the industrial estate, and I was like, oh, that's a strange name. I'm sure it had to have some sort of correlation. Well, there it is. Showers. You can actually still see the drain there. Ah, these are probably, well, I want to say the the most intact buildings. They are crumbling apart. Wow, this is really fascinating to wander around. There's a lot more to it than I thought. I mean, I would assume that there would be loads of buildings, right? But I didn't think that so many of them I'd be able to still see the remains of. So cool getting to see all of the images on the display boards that are around here. I love that little story as well. Colonel Albert Shower, he had a road name in the industrial estate too, the commander of the bomb group. Right, well, I thoroughly enjoyed wandering around parts of the former RAF Rackheath. I've got to make my way back to the station now though. So I'm back at the station. I just took the route I did coming. It's about a half an hour walk. I did notice on a walking map here at the station though that there is a village sign if I was to head into the village, which is a bit of a walk away. I was intrigued to do that, but I don't quite have enough time. I would have been rushing. So for Rackheath, you go there if you have a 2-hour explore, 2-hour wait for a train, and you go to the village if you only have a 1-hour wait. But at all the other stations today now though, I am just going to have a 1-hour wait. They all line up, and I picked this up from Norwich station earlier, a free line guide and timetable for the Bittern Line. So I can actually show you the timetable. I caught that 11:45 from Norwich, which stops at every station but Worstead, surprisingly. Then you can see the one after skips Salhouse. And then, oh, again, this one skips Worstead. But then, everything lines up. Every one afterwards, I only have an hour wait. And you can see that the all-stopping service, it is just too long. That 16:45 is exactly an hour. 17:45 takes 63 minutes. And because parts of the line beyond here is single track only, you would struggle to get another train running along here. By the way, the timetable actually opens up and you get a massive poster. I don't even know if I can squeeze it in here. A massive poster of the Bittern Line, a map and information at the stations. I could frame that and that would go quite nicely in my bedroom. Lol, that's a fail. Intriguingly, this station opened as just Wroxham, despite the fact that we're actually closer to Hoveton here. The renaming took place in 1966. During that time though, the East Norfolk Railway opened another branch line coming off of here to a place called Aylsham. Weren't we at Aylsham recently? This one's without an E though. It closed to passengers in 1952, closed to freight in 1982, but quite quickly, and you can see it on the sign there, it opened as a heritage railway known as the Bure Valley Railway. Not just heritage though, it's also a miniature one, because they wanted a footpath to run alongside the tracks on the former track bed. So let's go and have a little look at it on our hour at Hoveton and Wroxham. Intriguingly though, the heritage station retains the name of just Wroxham, although again, we are closer to Hoveton here. And this, right beside the railway, is the path. Well, the name of the miniature heritage railway, Bure Valley, does suggest that there is indeed a river Bure around here. There's a delightful path you can take alongside it up from the station. This place is a lot more built up than I thought it was going to be. I wasn't expecting to see a McDonald's. Here, to make up for not quite reaching Salhouse's village sign, here's Hoveton's just before I have to head back to the station. So I'm starting to notice a bit of a trend on the Bittern Line. You go from a rural station to one that's in a more built-up urban area, and then that cycle continues. Because now that we're at Worstead, first of all, we got our first single platform station of the day, even though there is a second disused platform that is visible. There's even what looks to be some sort of old siding, maybe part of a goods yard or something, I'm not too sure. And yeah, it's definitely not as built up as Hoveton. There's not much around here. Oh my days, there really isn't anything around here. That's not going to stop me taking a walk towards the local village though. I'm glad to see that there's a public footpath, as the road has no pavement, but it will bring me straight towards the village. You can see the church down there. Can't get lost when I'm aiming towards that. Well, I don't think I'm going to come across a McDonald's around here. This is a long way from the station. I've had just enough time to walk up from the church to see Worstead's village sign. I really do have to go back towards the station now though. I'm back at the station, as evident by the old sign on the canopy. There's a real charm to the stations on the Bittern Line. I've enjoyed them so far. This feels like the quietest, even though it's the second least used. Well, the station depicts a different village sign to the one I saw. Did I go to the wrong one? So the reason why my train is going so slow is that it's having to wait for a train to pass by on the other side. It's back to double track. This is a passing loop station. And all of a sudden, it's back to being very busy again. This was the original terminus on what is now the Bittern Line in 1874, but there did used to be an adjacent station on another line called North Walsham Town, on a line from Great Yarmouth to Melton Constable. That was split into two. One branch went via Sheringham, which is now on the Bittern Line, and the other went via Aylsham, which is at the end of the Bure Valley Heritage Railway. And even a little bit of the railway beyond Sheringham has been turned into another heritage railway today. The line closed in 1959. Part of the route has since been turned into a long-distance walking path known as the Weaver's Way, which is about 61 miles long. There's the train back to Norwich. That would be a good thing to do at one point, come back and walk part of the old railway, also travel on the heritage railways as well. There's a lot of places I would like to visit around North Norfolk, but because of the lack of railways around here nowadays, some of them are hard to reach, but hey, I can always come back. For now though, I start my hour in North Walsham by coming to have a look at, well, I can't really call it a village sign because it's more of a town. At the heart of North Walsham lies St Nicholas's Church, which unusually has a ruined tower. I've read that parts of it collapsed in 1724, it's a long time ago. You can tell that they've done work to it since, just to make sure the structure is secure. There's a drinking fountain here which actually works. That sounds like too good of an opportunity to miss up. And my path back to the station is actually the alignment of the old railway route to Aylsham, as it's actually passing underneath the current railway up there, the Bittern Line. I've made it back to the station, and I am on the wrong platform. I'm on the Norwich bound side, but that's only because I noticed that similarly to Worstead, it looks like there's a former siding or bay platform here. Right, I gotta rush over to the other side now. So many things to mention. First of all, we are nearing the coast, so we've got a little different emblem on the station sign. I did actually have to move up one carriage because the platform is too short, even though there is a platform there. It's just not safe. We're back to single track, but there's very clear evidence yet again of there being a second platform. There's even a brilliant heritage sign over there. It's actually really obvious here because you have an old station house, canopy, and all sorts. There's so many little signs. It's just delightful. I will say that it was seeing this second platform here at Gunton that really made me want to come back and visit the other stations on this line. 5 years later, I've finally done that. Now here's the thing, we've gone to have a look at village and town signs today at the other stations, but I can't exactly do that here at Gunton because Gunton doesn't exist. It was built primarily to serve a lord who was an investor behind the railway who lived at a Gunton Hall, which was named after a family. There is no actual village here called Gunton. That's not going to stop me finding a village sign though. So far it seems like the only thing Gunton Station serves is a delightful pub called the Suffield Arms. Aha, found one. Lower Southrepps. That's what Gunton Station serves, it seems. There's even a delightful boardwalk that you can walk along, obviously, to get to Lower Southrepps from Gunton Station. So I'm back at Gunton Station on the picnic table outside of it. I would say that from today this is my favourite station. If I had to rank all of them, maybe Worstead would come in second. I know I said it was uninteresting, but waiting at Salhouse was actually quite quiet and peaceful, so that might be third. Then North Walsham, then Hoveton and Wroxham. I feel like the actual main station didn't have much to it apart from the old Greater Anglia signs, and then bottom of the barrel is this. Well, not this, not Gunton. I mean this. Okay, you know what I mean. Now, although the Bittern Line is complete for me, I didn't want to come this close to the coast and not at least visit the beach. So I am going to head to Cromer now. Now, the trains actually used to head directly to Cromer at a station called Cromer High. But then in 1906, it was brought through to the connection of the old railway through Sheringham that I mentioned earlier. That's why it's a bit of a surprise that only that bit remains beside the coast. And Cromer High lasted all the way up until 1954. Now, I did consider jumping off at Roughton Road and doing the walk up to Cromer like I did before. I also thought about heading to West Runton and walking the coast to Cromer, because last time I did the walk from Sheringham to West Runton along the coast. But quite frankly, I feel like I've done enough wandering around today, enough walking. I just really want to chill out on the beach in the sun. Mentioning Roughton Road, that kind of ruins the streak a little bit, doesn't it? I would say that we have two rural stations in a row here, rather than our pattern of rural, urban. But I can kind of forgive it a little bit because it's only existed since 1985. One last point as well, back when I travelled on the Bittern Line in 2020, I wasn't really fussed about doing this, but now I am. Not only am I trying to visit every station in the country, but I'm trying to get a photo of every station sign. And I do have one for Sheringham. I do have a beautiful heritage one for West Runton. I do have one for Cromer, but I'm missing one for Roughton Road. So as the train passes through, when it stops, I'm going to try and poke my head out the window and see if I can get a photo of Roughton Road. Wish me luck. All of the trains today have been really busy with people heading to the coast, but now in the evening the coast-bound train is rather empty, so I'm going to take the opportunity to say how much I actually really like these trains. They're one of my favourites in the country. We got tables, I like the high back seats there, get a good view looking down the train. Actual decent seats as well, like semi-comfortable seats, not your classic ironing board ones. We got plug sockets, we got toilets, we got level boarding as well, which is revolutionary. It's all good. Oh, and in case you didn't know, they're called the Flirt. Yes, the fast, light, intercity and regional train, I believe is what it stands for. Okay, we're pulling in. I'm gonna need a sign. Got one there. Okay, there's one coming up here. Right, okay. I'm gonna jump off. I can get that. Actually, I can. While the light's in the way. Okay, I got it.
We are now approaching Cromer.
Okay, I don't recall seeing all of this last time. There's more little heritage bits and bobs over there. Signal box, bit of track. I don't remember that. Anyways, made it to Cromer. The trains actually reverse here to head back to Sheringham. I'm not going there though. I'm going to the beach. It's been sunny all day, and as soon as I hit the coast, where I'm wanting to sunbathe on the beach for an hour, the clouds come in. Freak show clouds. You can tell this has just happened as well, because look how blue it is over there. Wow, the queues for fish and chips is nuts. To be honest, I'm kind of tempted myself. I just kind of want to wander around the town now. I know I said I wasn't going to do much more walking, but here I am. I'm actually quite enjoying wandering around the town. I don't recognise it, so I mustn't have done this before. I must have just went straight to the beach. Of course, I still am going to come down to the beach. I've just realised it looks like the clouds are moving towards me. So I am going to get that blue sky dust over there. So I'm going to hang out here for an hour until my train. This was meant to be a very quick end to the video. I was just going to come down to the beach and that was it. I got carried away. I really do quite like Cromer.